Good morning, Cake Family. Tiffany back again with a student success story. I have Jara with me here, and she is tuning in from where are you located?
Ohio.
Ohio. Okay, Jara's in Ohio, and it looks like Kendall's watching. Hi, Kendall. Thanks for joining us. Um, Today, I wanted to let Jara share her story and her experience and everything that she has done over the last maybe not even quite a year.
Nope, it started in October, so not
Okay. Okay,
yet.
great. So, Jara, would you like to tell us a little bit about your family and maybe some background on you, what education and experience you had prior to joining the academy, and then what drew you to this type of opportunity?
Absolutely, yeah. So how it first started was I did have a little bit, I don't want to say experience bookkeeping. I used to help my family had a business, and I used to do like some in the desktop. They had like 2013. I would just put things in categories. I've never reconciled or did anything like that, but I always enjoyed numbers. My husband went to school, and we were traveling back and forth and stuff, and I ended up having kids, but I've always loved to work. So I'm like, I've got to find something at home to do. I've tried call centers and things like that, and just nothing worked with my kids. Like I just couldn't take it in the day, and at night it was just too difficult. So then actually I looked into first advertising, like marketing and stuff like that. And I was like, that's something I could do from home. I could get in. Oh my gosh, I hated it. Like, so usually if you're a numbers person, you're not the creative type. And I was trying to get, like, I was learning different programs and things. And I was just like, I hate this. I hate it so much. And somebody on that group I followed, like a marketing group, had recommended you and a bookkeeping course. And I was like, it sounds like more my style. So I went in and I talked to my husband because I saw your courses. I'm like, I read your book first, your audiobook, which really
Mhm.
inspired me to move.
Awesome.
Probably one of my favorite things was your book and the mini course, but definitely your book. I just was like, I just feel like I could do this. So I talked to my husband before I purchased the course. I was like, listen, like, it could be a waste of money. Like, I don't know. And it might not work out. And I was like, maybe I shouldn't, because I'm always apprehensive. Like, I just was like, I don't want to spend the money. He had just gotten out of school, and we were
Hmm.
large debt. It just seemed like a lot too expense. And he was like, you should just do it. So my husband was like, just do it. I was like, fine.
Awesome.
Best decision still that I've made well, I would say forever, but my kids are great. But this is one of the best things, I guess, for myself.
Oh, good.
So I jumped in and I just worked really, really hard. And finally officially opened and started advertising in October, because I finished my pro advisor around the 1st. So I got my LLC October 1st, and I started launching then. I got my first client in December, though. So it took a couple months of advertising and reaching out and talking to people, but I landed my first client, and it's just been like going up from there. I just signed on my 13th client. Um,
That's
so
amazing.
it's going good. I am super overwhelmed and up to my eyeballs in work. And I've got 4 kids that I homeschool. They're 7 and under. So I have just been like, it does become a lot. So I just finally started training 2 employees that I'm going to have start
Awesome.
taking over. Like, I'm going to do the majority, like the back work and stuff, and then just have them doing the maintenance and reconciling after I've cleaned up the account. So I'm trying to get that set up. That way I can grow. I'd
Yes.
like to continue to grow. And I've noticed over time, you become faster. Like the first client takes forever. The second
Hmm.
one's a little bit quicker. Third one's a little bit quicker. So you do get those really complicated cases, but I love problem solving. So
Yeah, yeah, it is like a puzzle. Robin was mentioning that. Yeah.
and I love it. I love it. So like I'll lay in bed at night and I like laid in bed and I just thought about it. I thought, and finally I actually figured it out. Like, and 2 in the morning, I jump up like, yes, yes, I got this. So, um, yeah. And that's pretty much how it's been from there. So
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yes. So, as everybody can tell from watching all these, if everyone's watched all the success stories, it's not hard to go from starting out to having so many clients you're ready to hire somebody. And that's really awesome. And you can continue to grow, or you can keep it small. If you don't want to build a team, you can always, decide not to take on more clients.
Right. I could just stop and be happy with what I am, but I do want to grow though. Like I thought
Hmm.
if you're happy, just like, hey, I don't really want, I mean, taking on people is tedious work. Yeah, eventually you'll hopefully eventually be able to make more, but you have to want to invest that time. And, something, it might not be right now. So for me, I'm like, I'm going to just do it now and see where it goes. So versus I could just keep what I have and make a very comfortable income. I made way more than I do, working 40 hours a week. So
That's awesome. Yeah. So can you kind of give us some insight onto what that revenue looks like and how it's helped your family, maybe compared to other jobs that you've worked or other ways you've brought in money?
well, I was trying to calculate if I work now. Sometimes I do work more than 40 hours a week, but that's more just cleanup work stuff that obviously once you have caught up, it's not going to be, um,
Yeah, projects and marketing always can add to it.
which
Hmm.
you don't obviously get paid for those things, but eventually you
Hmm.
do. So I was just, I was divided by how many hours? How many hours do you work in a month? Do you know? Like if you work 40 hours a week, I was just trying.
So that'd be 160? Wait, I gotta have my calculator for everything. Yeah, 160 if it's 4 weeks, 40 hours a week.
I calculated after tax. So this is after tax is taken out. I make about 18 an hour, which is pretty great if I work 40 hours a week. Now, some of my
Hmm.
clients I make a lot more because I make,
Hmm.
some of them I'm making closer to $50 to $100 an hour. If I worked 40 hours a week, that's what I would make right now. And I don't work 40 hours a week. I've got kids. I
Okay.
can't hours a week. So that was just based off that. So I'm probably making closer. Like I said, I was talking to my husband about it. I said, this client I make $100 an hour, and this client I make probably like $75 an hour.
Okay.
Some of the cleanup work I make nothing, but it's the initial sign on that really,
Yeah, so you still offer occasionally free cleanup work for clients that sign on?
not free, but
Not free?
severely discounted. And I do it because it really usually sells the package and they're fine with
Hmm.
um taking it on. So like versus if I quoted like, here's 3,000 for back work and then 299 a month, they're kind of like, where if I sell them a really discounted back work like
Hmm.
600. And mind you, I read the client and the accounts, like depending on
Yeah.
what they have, like if they've got a lot of invoicing, I always quote more.
Hmm.
So and I've learned that over time with each client, you learn what you don't want to do and how to quote correctly. My first one I took on, I was like, oh yeah, I'll just do it for free. And I was like, I'll never do back work for free again. And then I started, at least charging some.
Hmm.
But yeah, I do a lot of discounted back work.
Okay. Yeah, so there's lots of flexibility in how to run a business and how to gain clients. I did a lot of discounting for back work if in exchange for ongoing monthly clients. And then as you grow and maybe you don't feel so desperate for clients, you don't have to discount it anymore. And you can just be like, yeah, this is what it is, take it or leave it type of thing. So
I've done that with a couple clients. I've had people reach out where normally in the beginning I'd have been like, oh, I'll do it for cheaper. Pretty much I'm like, this is my price. You don't want it. Go. So like, I'm so busy that it's just like, I want to be paid for my work. So
yeah.
I don't discount work anymore. So like I said, my first one, I was like, oh, let's do that. Yeah, you'll learn. You learn though. It's
Hmm.
something you learn. Like, I'll never do that again.
Yeah, yeah. Everybody thinks, no, I got to do that in the beginning, and they always do it with one or two clients, and then they learn from it. Yeah, I guess that's why we don't do that. It's a lot of work.
Definitely a lot of work. Now it's a lot of learning. I have to admit,
Yeah.
I tried to like tell myself, well, it was learning. So, I
Hmm.
can be okay that it took me and I didn't get paid for this or
Yeah.
barely anything. So
Yes. Yeah.
I won't do it again though. So
Yeah.
I usually figure out what their account is and I'll quote back work based on what they have.
Awesome. Great. So based on the fact that you had a little bit of experience working in QuickBooks Desktop, um, how much do you feel the course and the support group prepared you for taking on clients, and maybe can you tell people a little bit about your experience in the support group and how that helped your business?
Yeah. Like, so it was honestly definitely a necessity because I feel like each client is so different. Like, you can't prepare for every scenario. Like, so the course gives you the basics, like how it works, what you're doing monthly and everything like that. And then you start to run into, they just have unique, like each of my clients are so unique that some of them want projects and some of them want this and some of them, and you just have to, when you're first learning, it's hard. So definitely, oh my gosh, I needed the support group. So I'm so glad that now I'm getting a little better at problem solving. So I don't need it like as much, but when I run into those really complicated cases, it's nice to have somebody in your corner too, to just be able to, but I definitely think I want to say a necessity. It just seems it really helps to know that, to have somebody double check what you're doing. That way you can feel confident what you're doing is correct. So.
Yeah, awesome. And you definitely took so much advantage of the support group. I loved every time we hopped on the Zoom calls, Jara was the first one to join and the first one with questions every time.
I just wanted to get in and out. I was very busy, I'm just like, hey, answer
Yep.
quick. I tried to make them quick so I could just get in, get out, because eventually you get busy enough that you're just like, everything has to be
Yes.
quick. I love it. I love being that busy. It's really fun. And I
Yeah,
love this work. I just love doing it. So
that's awesome.
you're going to get the occasional crabby client. I'm not going to lie, but
Hmm.
so far I love all 13 of my, like, I genuinely really like them a lot. And
Awesome.
I like to see their businesses grow. It is fun to watch.
Yes, it is.
COVID was a little hard to watch some of it. Some of them thrived though, and some of them took a little bit of a hit, but actually most of my clients were fine. So,
That's
and are
great.
fine. So,
That's great. So can you tell me a little bit about the type of clients you have and how you found them?
yeah, so I've done LinkedIn, Thumbtack, Bark, Facebook. Somebody reached out on Facebook. So it's honestly, I haven't had more success on one platform than the other. It's just a combined effort and just a lot of advertising and things like that. Um, and my clients range from, I've got one that does advertising, one that does consulting. I have one that does construction. I have one that does, um, he does like industrial arts, like these really cool
Interesting.
projects. And he'll actually show me pictures and it's amazing. Like the work he does is just amazing. Um, one of those clients, I have one that does like a realtor and stages homes and I had one that was in trades. So like literally I didn't want to niche in anything in particular because I just, you know,
Hmm.
really wanted to. So I have quite a few and a bunch of and
That's awesome. Yeah.
different. So, and
Yep.
I've loved everyone because everyone is a challenge, you get to figure
Hmm.
it out. I haven't enjoyed one more than the other.
Yeah.
So I've
So
loved
it is a challenge to get to work with all these different businesses and stuff, but would you say that it's a challenge that is overly hard or just a challenge because you have to investigate things and look into it? Like, what do you feel for people that are tuning in basically and they're thinking, well, what if I can't handle the challenge? What do you have to say to that?
just I guess it is a challenge, but to me it's like a fun challenge. It's almost like you're being a detective. You're researching. You've got to figure out why this happened. It's not so much like people are like, oh, do I have to be good at math to do bookkeeping? I'm like, no, not necessarily math, but problem solving, because this equals this because of and there's a trail. So as long as
Yeah.
you're like investigating and like I said, having the support group, having somebody, like if you run into it, like you just can't figure it out, sometimes it's nice because they'll show you and it'll be like, bling, oh, I get it. And then, you're able to,
Yeah.
I don't know if
Yeah.
that makes
Figure
sense,
it out without having to do a whole lot of research yourself.
right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, awesome. So, where do you see your business in the next like 3 to 6 months?
Well, I keep telling my husband that I'm going to scale back a little bit and kind of calm down, but it's something about getting clients just brings like, I was talking with another girl. We described it as like a kind of high, like you get
Absolutely.
every time you onboard. And I actually enjoy onboarding. Like I love onboarding, which at the first call, I hated it. It was terrible. And when you started getting used to it, I actually enjoy that. Like, like, oh, it's coming, and you got to do it. So, the onboarding, yeah, is definitely fun. And I started taking on two employees. So honestly, I'm hoping to scale bigger. So my projected revenue for this year, just so far, based on what I have now, I'm projected to make around 50 to 60,000. My business is projected to make that. Obviously, I have some expenses, and not very much though. And then I'm hoping to what I want to make is 100,000 is what I really want to get to. And I honestly
Awesome.
hope that I can get that by the end of, it just would take a couple more clients.
Mhm.
I could make that. So, and
That's
I know
fantastic.
that. So
Yeah.
I,
Awesome.
I want that. So
Yes.
I'm going to keep scaling even though I shouldn't.
Yes. Well, we definitely need to have a conversation about the mastermind because, yeah, scaling is super awesome. And I would love to help you do that in the most efficient and efficient way possible and reduce your hours while making some more money. And maybe you can focus on doing the stuff that you like the most, like the onboarding and talking to new clients and stuff like that. So we'll definitely need to have a conversation about that.
Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. So awesome. So, with all the people in the group watching and everyone new that are kind of on the fence about this or thinking, I don't know if this is going to work for me, what kind of advice or tips would you give them?
Um, it is work, but it's so worth it. Like to me, like don't expect that you're just gonna sign on and there's a client. It does happen for some people, but some
Yeah.
people do have to. It's a lot of work. Like you have to dedicate a lot of time to it at first, and if you work towards it, you get rewarded. I think the harder you work for it. So
Yes.
that would just be my advice. Don't give up. Don't give up because the first week I got really depressed the first week when I didn't get a client. Like the first week, like I had opened my business and I didn't have a client in the first week. I was kind of sad about it. And my husband's like, that's just not how it works. And I'm just like, oh, I can't do it. You get discouraged. But I
Hmm.
think it's the ones that push forward and just keep going are the ones who make it. So if you're a
Hmm.
person gives up easily, then maybe it's not for it's something you have to work towards and want.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, you kind of have to brainwash yourself that it's going to happen. It's going to happen, and you're just going to keep moving until it happens because if you keep going, there is no way you can fail at it. It's just
I
not possible.
agree. You just have to, and then once you get your first client, it's so much easier to get your second and your
Mhm.
third and your fourth. You just need the first initial one. So a lot of people I saw was like 3 months was their 2 to 3 months was
Mhm.
their the first client they got. So
Yes,
that's
yeah, that's the trend I'm seeing in all of the student success stories. It's about 2 months from when they launched their business to when they got the first client. And I have no idea. It varies for everybody how much time they're actually putting in those 2 months and what they're doing to get clients. But that's not too terribly long to get your first client. And I have seen quite a few people luck out and get their first client much quicker.
right. Like to some people got on with a client in mind,
Hmm.
somebody's like, hey, if you train, you could. So some people are just luckier than others, and I don't want to say lucky, more just like, they had that. And like I said, once I finally got my first one, it seemed like, I don't want to say falling in my lap because I still had to work hard for it, but like,
Hmm.
they started and you weren't sitting there like, oh, my first client. It's less depressing when you start to get more. So you pretty much just have to want it bad enough and work forward. Like I'm not going to lie. I spent a lot of the first 2 or 3 months advertising almost, I don't want to say 40 hours a week. It was a lot less than that, probably, good 10 hours a week advertising, but like, just reaching out to people, posting on groups. And I tried joining a BNI, did not. Some people had success. I couldn't because I had kids and they were like, you have to join every week. And I was like,
Hmm.
no, but I have joined other networking groups and I've enjoyed. So it depends.
Awesome.
So some
Yeah.
people just have a hit or miss in everything. So I wouldn't recommend one way of advertising because, I didn't think Facebook was that great. But a couple people are like, hey, I got 3 from Facebook. So I'm like, I
Hmm.
don't know then. I don't know. Some people I would just try all platforms.
Yeah, everything works differently for different people. So Yeah, in the course, we have a list of things that you can do, and a lot of them are free. And if you go down that list, you need to go back up to the top and go down it again until you figure out which thing is going to work best for you.
Yep. And that's what I did. I followed the advertising stuff. I just like for LinkedIn this and that. Like I just followed those steps, and obviously the group also people were posting their success. So like one of them was like Bark, and I tried Bark. I didn't have as much success on Bark as some of them, but I still got one, and to me it was worth it.
Mm,
But I didn't
yeah.
start with Bark until after I had more of a revenue coming in. I took
Hmm.
advantage of my first 7 clients came from like free. They were free
Mm,
advertising, just stuff that I joined and posted. So I definitely say it's.
yeah, that's fantastic. Are we going to get an appearance from the children?
I most certainly hope not. I'm like looking at giving dirty looks from my husband, like just
Oh, that's awesome. I'm sure everyone can relate to that feeling.
to keep it. I was gonna hide. I'm in my laundry room, as you can see. I was gonna hide and have like a background, and I was like, you know what? This is real. This is what it is. Like you're just some people are in their basement, some people are in their bedrooms. Like this is just the reality. Like you just set up where you can and make money. And I think it's. I mean,
Yeah, you don't have to have a fancy office or fancy equipment or anything to do this. So the startup costs, the ongoing costs are very, very low.
I already had a computer, so really, other than the course, I didn't have any. I didn't have any upfront costs, like
Yeah.
other than that, which was perfect.
Yep,
It was
which is awesome because with your first, maybe second client, you make your money back on the course. So, there's very little risk involved with starting a bookkeeping business.
It's really, and I honestly think if you can move forward, you'll make your money in no time. Like you
Yeah.
will make up for what you spent. And like you said, the first client, like my first client made up for the course in like, a month or two versus, and then I had a second, which, yeah. So like I said, I've definitely made more than I've spent
Mhm.
by a
That's,
lot. And it's
yeah.
really helped. I told you my husband went to school. He's a chiropractor. So we had a lot of debt, but I've been able to make almost $3,000-4,000 extra a month in payments. So we almost have his loan paid off, and
Oh, wow.
it was supposed to take 30 years or however many years, and we've really knocked it down with my second income. We really
That's
are.
awesome.
We're hoping to move to a bigger house, and I'm getting an office that is definitely
The next goal.
a real office, like where it has locks and it has like pretty pictures and not laundry soap, but it works. So
Yeah,
we're
it does.
it
That,
really broadens what we can actually do. Like as in like even the house we get. I mean, having an extra $3,000 a month, what
hmm
we can go to getting a really nice house. Like
yeah,
it's once we have his loans paid off, that's what I plan on doing. So getting a
that's,
big house for a bigger family. So
yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah, it's really hard to describe that to people that haven't been self-employed or haven't been able to be in a position where there's no cap on their earnings. Because once you kind of break through that, past making $100,000 a year as your total family income or something like that, I mean, it just changes so much in what you can do with your life. I mean, we had a pretty nice house, and then when my bookkeeping business got up to where we were making $200,000 a year, which you're well on your way to that, we were able to buy a really nice house with a pool and a tennis court in the back, and I was just shocked. I mean, it's just crazy how a little bit more money can open so many doors.
and that's for me. I mean, it literally like we are almost at like our loans are at 160. You know what I mean? Like 160,000. We're way more than halfway, and that's just mostly my income. Like paying off a lot extra. So like I said, I'm hoping to have that paid off, that 80,000 paid off, and we're hoping to have it done in a year and a half to 2 years. And
Wow,
obviously, the more I keep growing, we're projected to pay it off in a year and a half.
that is amazing.
Then after that, I'm like, could you imagine having an extra 4 grand a month? Like, it's just, I don't think people realize, like, it is just awesome. Like, it is
Mhm.
really just great. And you
Yeah,
have to, like I said, it's work, but it's well worth it.
yeah.
So,
And so when your husband's ready, is he going to launch his own chiropractor office?
Yeah, actually, where
Yeah.
he's working under somebody right now, and she's actually planning on selling to him in 2021, which I'm
Oh,
going to do
nice.
for the business.
Exactly.
He'll buy his the office, and then we'll make extra from that too. Obviously his pay will increase and stuff because we'll pay ourselves more. But yeah,
Fantastic.
he's projected to buy that too, and that will just be. I mean, that just it's going to be awesome, and that's what
Yeah.
I'm hoping. And I love this. I'll never stop this, even if he made more money. I love doing this. Like,
Yeah. Well, and the
no,
great thing is too, even if you hire a team and you remain in the CEO role, you can really reduce your hours. There'd be no point in stopping this because it can get to be almost passive type income. So,
that's what like. I'm training. I've got one doing this and one doing that, and I mean, obviously the training takes a little bit, to make sure they're
hmm
doing the books correctly, the way you want them done for your clients. But I am hoping to just take a lot of stress. I want to spend less time on it, so I'm trying to scale back, but still grow. So
yeah.
you need to find the right team. If that's
Yes.
what you want, is you have to get team. Yeah, at first it's a lot more time, but I'm hoping that I will be well rewarded, which I believe I will be, because that
hmm
opens up how many more clients I can get. So I
Yes.
pretty much have stopped onboarding right now until I get them trained. Like, I'm not taking on any new clients.
hmm
Reach out, I'll think about it, but for the most part, I'm like, no.
Yeah. Just hiding out a little bit.
A little bit, and not really advertising until I got my team together a little bit better. That way I
hmm
can feel more comfortable,
Yeah.
scaling
Yep.
a bit more.
Absolutely.
So
Awesome. Cool. Well, I really appreciate you hopping on here and sharing your story and talking about all of this with everyone. I know it's very inspiring for a lot of people to hear how far you've come in such a short time. So we really appreciate it.
no, I really think, oh, and I did want to throw out, I really have no accounting background, and I also graduated high school. That's as far as I went. So, I have my GED. I
hmm
don't have any education past that, and I'm doing completely fine. Like, it's just, you can do it.
Awesome.
You don't have to have an accounting degree or be like, you do need somebody to support you. So yeah, definitely
Yeah.
recommend
Yes.
supporting you, especially if you get a complicated issue, but then you
Yeah.
get paid more for those. Usually
Yes.
my complicated clients, I make way more a month than just my simple ones. So
hmm
once
Yep.
you figure their books out, it's not complicated anymore, and you make better money. So
Yes.
don't run away from the complicated ones. They're usually good paying
Yeah.
ones. And,
Yep. And when you have a complicated issue and you get help on it, then you learn from that and then you can apply it to all future clients. So,
it is, and you know how to help, and it makes you better for onboarding phone calls too. I've noticed, because when they come to you with a problem, you're like, actually, I know how to handle. Like, you
hmm
are very confident that you can help them because you already had somebody with that same issue. So it
yep.
actually makes you able to sell yourself better too. So
hmm
I don't want to say started charging more, but like I don't discount. Like, I've still been like, I'm very firm in my prices. I'm like, I know that I'm worth it. So
hmm
if they can't afford me or don't want me, I'm like, you'll have to find, I just can't do it. I'm too
hmm
busy. So
Yeah. Fantastic. Awesome. Thank you again. And everyone, you guys all have a great day.
bye, guys.